Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON. We're your original social media. You're listening to Inspirational Perspective with Linnell Harris on 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibility. Find your power, passion, and your purpose. You know it's time for you to walk in greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Free your goals, live out your dream. The best right now. Inspirational perspective. Open your mind to a better life. It's time to live. Let's find your purpose now. Inspirational perspective. Let's lay your goals, let your greatness flow with inspirational perspective.
Good morning, Chicago. You're listening to Inspirational Perspective. I'm your host, Linnell Harris, your very own life coach right here on WVON 1690 AM, The Talk of Chicago. Inspirational Perspective on your radio is all about murdering mediocrity and living the best life possible. So as I ask you every Sunday morning, are you living the best life possible? And this is the place to be to explore that possibility. Well, good Sunday morning, everybody. Good to be on the airwaves this morning, and I'm incredibly excited about having a very special guest. We went in a bit of a different direction than what was planned initially, because we were supposed to talk about money. But then my wife and I were baby free this weekend. We had a phenomenal date night last night. And I asked her to join me on the show because one of the promises we made is that we would talk about the dating game. And not just talk about the dating game, but talk about the game in particular. And that is what we are here to do this morning. So I want to welcome my lovely wife to the show. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, WVON listeners. I'm excited about this conversation today. It's interesting because I had a couple people say, you better get on the show to talk about this. You need to get on. And so because of that, I've been able to fear the threats that people have.
You've been getting threats?
Getting threats.
Well, I'm excited to have you. I'm excited about the topic. Mm-hmm. And we got a lot to cover this morning. We got a whole lot to cover this morning. And so I'm excited to be on the air with you. I want to start with, in some ways, the whole idea of dating, and maybe people know our story already, so we don't have to necessarily talk about that. But what is dating? Like, when you experienced the dating game before, of course, you were pulled out by me. I saved you.
Pulled out. Or did I pull you out? I think that's really the question.
We pulled each other out.
I think they'll know by the end of this conversation who pulled who. How about that?
Yeah, there we go. But when you think about the dating game, how would you define it? How would you define a dating game? I'll share the same, but I'm curious how you would define it.
Well, I think first for me, the dating game when I was dating has always been fun. My approach to it has always been it's a game, and with any game, the end goal is to win, right? In order for you to win, you have to have a strategy, and so oftentimes we don't have a strategy to win the game because we don't realize it's a game we're playing.
So is that something that you think that, just to start off, people who are listening should really be focused on? Hey, this is a game. This is a game.
Notice who you're being. Notice if the game is you meet people, they're like, oh my God, I hate this game we have to play with dating. and their attitude about dating in itself is kind of like disempowered. Like they don't see the fun and the beauty and the gift of meeting other individuals and just getting to know people and learning more about people and expanding their network. Instead, it's all about, because it's so serious for them. It's like.
So you're saying that maybe one of the biggest mistakes people make in a dating game is making it too significant? Is that what you're saying?
Making it significant instead of just having a good time. Yes, there's a strategy to it. Think about when you play your favorite card game. When I beat you in Uno, for example.
Okay, I'm with you.
Ooh. So, if I beat you in Uno, the first thing I do when I get my deck, my cards, is that I look at my hands to see, the tools that I'm going to be playing against you with, my cards, my deck. And immediately I know how I can strategize to win the game. I don't know what you have, but as we begin to play, I get to learn more about what you have in your hand, and then I get to put out what I have. And so I think it's the same concept when you think about dating. Think about a card game. Think about, for the ladies and the men, think about what you got in your hand. Are you charismatic? Are you beautiful? Do you have nice legs? Like what is in your deck? What's in your deck? Do you possess power and essence? Like what makes you so special? And I think it's important to know those things, because when you get in the game, you know how to play because you got all your cards that you know to use in that game.
Got you.
Does that make sense?
Right. It makes perfect sense to me. And I hope that both ladies and men are listening to it, because I think when I thought about the dating game, I didn't approach it with significance, but I never thought about it the way you're talking about it.
Well, neither did I. I mean, because we were having this conversation. I'm like, wow, if you think about dating itself, I looked at my history. I'm like, I used to have fun. I enjoyed dating. Like, it was fun to me.
Well, I mean, it was fun to me up until I started to get tired of it.
Yeah.
There was a point where I got tired of it, and then it was like, I'm ready to get out of this game. I'm not ready to be in this game anymore.
And that's a part of the process as well. If you think about basketball players, one of the things they start noticing, their knees start to get bad, right? Like it's time for them to retire and go, let it go. And so I think that's what happened with you and I was, my knees started to get bad.
Oh boy.
I was out here playing the game too long. So overall, I just think it's a great experience. I enjoy dating. I think we have to approach it with fun. And today I think what we're going to dive into is to really get connected to the fun, get connected to learning how to play the game and walk away empowered.
Got it. Well, let's do it. I mean, so we got a lot of questions via social media. And one of the things that I wanted to start with, I wanted to open up by defining what playing the dating game, defining this whole idea about playing the dating game and actually winning. And you talked about a strategy initially, but the other thing is all games have rules.
It's true. They have rules.
And so maybe we can start by just discussing the rules of the rules of dating.
I feel like we're talking about Two Could Play That Game. Remember in the movie Two?
You're right. But I mean, there are rules. And I think one of the major rules is demanding respect. If you lose the respect game in dating, that's, at least with that individual, you've lost. You need to you probably want to move on, right? But there are certain unwritten rules in dating that I think a lot of times we don't necessarily know. We don't necessarily know how to make sure that we're upholding that side of the rule for ourselves, or at a minimum making sure that the other person is adhering to the rule. For me, I think one of the rules of dating is or unsaid rule is who should pay.
No,
things like that.
No, honestly, that's where you go wrong.
All right, so let's discuss it, because I think there's a lot of men out here who are why am I paying for everything? Can we go Dutch? Now, personally, I don't believe in that.
You don't believe in what?
Going Dutch.
No, I don't believe in going Dutch either.
Yeah, but I mean, how do we navigate? Because these are we're not even in the conversation of I like you, you like me. I mean, typically dating starts off with some level of attraction, But then we got to sit down,
And
break
get to know
bread,
each other. Yeah.
get to know each other.
Right.
So what are some of the rules? I mean, any rules come to mind for you?
Well, I think I didn't get a chance to expound on what you said about self-respect. I
Okay.
think respect to me is so important because the amount of respect that you have for yourself automatically, makes the other person have that same respect for you because they see how you respect yourself. They know that you have boundaries. They know that they can't play certain games with you. And so because of that, respect is important. Oh my God, respect is important. And you're going to respect me. You're going to pay for my food. Now, I'm not paying for you ask me out, you better pay for my food, okay? And I'm going to order what I want to order. Look, I may be small. I know back in the day, it used to be like, she going to be a cheap date. No, okay? I'm getting an appetizer. I'm getting a drink. I'm getting an entree, a salad, and dessert. So if you come, you better come correct.
Okay, so like let's talk about
the rules. You want to focus on
like some
rules.
of the other rules, right? I mean, I think you and I both agree that if a man can ask a woman out, that he should pay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a rule.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Dutch. I think if a brother can't afford to pay, then he probably shouldn't be in a dating game. And this is coming from a man. Like if you can't afford to pay for this lady's food, for her drink, whatever it may be, then you shouldn't be in a dating game. And sisters, if he's like, well, that's not where I'm at right now, then hey, hit me back when you have a few more resources. Because to me, honestly, I believe that a man should be able to provide. And if he can't provide at a minimum some food and a drink, keep it moving. Like that's just an unwritten rule that I'm just going to write down right now. All right, any other rules before we keep going? So respect, who pays?
Okay, so let me think of some rules.
Well, we'll come back. And again, by the way, if you guys have rules that you're thinking of, give us a phone call, 773-591-1690. All right, so you had some stats that you shared.
Pulling my stats that I had.
Yeah, last night that I'm curious about. Because you were saying that, you were talking about the dating market overall. And Pam went and did research, y'all. And she was talking about the dating market overall and how that, I think there's 50%. I'm
pulling up the stats
50% of the people who are
53%.
on 53%. Okay, go ahead.
53% of people, among singles who are on the dating market, roughly 53% are open to either a committed relationship or casual dating, which means that it's a good amount of people out here that are open to being in a relationship. So that's the good news, everyone. Someone out here is looking for you as you're looking for them. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then there's another statistic that talks about how one of the biggest drawbacks on how people can't really be in a relationship is because they focus on exes.
Oh wow, let's talk about that.
And so because you had a relationship from the past that you just can't get past, and now because of that it's hard for you to be in a relationship with someone else. Now this is I've seen this firsthand with some of my girlfriends. Let me take a step back. I want y'all to understand my experience. I have 4 sisters and I have girlfriends. I grew up in a house full of women, right? And then I have a ton of girlfriends that I've grown to know and see them in their relationships. One of the biggest mistakes I see is comparing a potential dating candidate to your ex.
Got you.
Comparing to your ex.
Yeah.
Because your ex, whatever it was so significant
to you.
and
it's your ex.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your ex.
It's normal, I guess. Think about it.
I mean, I get that it's normal.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that the big mistake that many of us make, and we're kind of getting more into the relationship. I really want to stay in a dating game, but let's go here.
No, this is a part of the dating game because you can't even be in a relationship.
So I'm comparing the people I'm dating to my ex.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, what that tells me is that I'm not real clear about what I'm looking for there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the...
rules.
So let's go back to one of the rules.
Yeah.
Because again, remember, if you're calling it a dating game, then it has... you want to have a strategy. And one of the strategies I give my clients all the time...
Conditions of satisfaction.
Conditions of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Like what do you want as you're exploring this game? Because think about it, right? The dating game's a jungle. So if I'm going through a jungle, I probably want to have a map.
A jungle, though? We have to do a jungle
It's
with
a
lions,
jungle.
tigers, and bears? Like, a jungle?
And monkeys. Because you're going to run into some monkeys, okay? I'm on both sides, man and woman. You're going to run into some monkeys. You're going to run into some wolves. I mean, so I like to think of it as a jungle.
Okay.
And so you're navigating this jungle, you need to have a map. And your map is your intentions, like your conditions of satisfaction. Like you know what you're looking for. You know where you're going. So you know what type of relationship you want to have. Like there's some level of an objective, right? That you come in with an intent. You're dating with intent. The second thing is you know what you're looking for. So when you see it in this wide variety, because think about jungles have a wide variety of life, right?
Yeah.
So when you see it in this jungle that has a wide variety of life, you actually know this is, I probably want to keep this. I want to stay with this. I want to work with this.
I think one of the rules that we should probably add to that list that I didn't consider is really knowing, as I talked about earlier, what power you possess. Like the tools that you have to be in relationship.
Yeah.
That should be a rule because you need to know what you bring to the table essentially.
So not only what you're looking for, but you need to be clear on what you bring to the table.
What do you bring to the table?
Okay, I like that one too.
I think for me, when I was dating,
yeah.
I knew I kind of knew what I was bringing to the table a little bit. Like I knew you was getting the whole package, and because of that, I operated from the place of.
I think that's important.
Yes.
I think that's really important, for both men and women. Because even as a man, I did know what I was bringing to the table, which gave me
a different air about yourself. Like you had a different level of confidence that you brought to the table. Like,
And I think this is important for the men who are listening too, because we get rejected a lot. So the dating process,
you guys get rejected a lot. Women get rejected more. Are you kidding me?
Really?
Yes.
Tell me how. Like, I mean, because
you're the hunter. You're the hunter.
Right, but often we're like rejected when we're hunting. I mean, you rejected me.
I did.
Yeah. Like if I weren't confident, we wouldn't be together.
But thank God for your confidence.
Like we wouldn't be together.
Okay.
Because initially you were like, I'm straight. Like I ain't trying to do that with you.
Well, see, Linnell, I think it's not fair for you to say that because the environment and how we connected was through a professional environment.
Mm-hmm.
And because as a business owner at the time, you were seeking to date me, but also do business with me, was
initially I was seeking to date you.
Oh, so in order for you to date me, you did business with me?
Absolutely. Used me. Yes. Whatever it took. See, this is the part of the dating game I think a lot of men don't understand. Like, so let me break it down.
Where's Ernest? Ernest, you better call in. Where are you?
Because Ernest wanted to opt out. Ernest opted out.
He could have been in this conversation.
Reason, we would have had him in the studio.
Oh,
but here's the thing. So here's the part of the dating game that I think a lot of men miss. Okay? So I'm in the jungle. Like, so we call in the dating game a jungle. Because it's you can get hurt. It's dangerous out there. Okay, which is one of the reasons when you get married, it's like, I'm not going back in that jungle. I don't want to do that. But I digress. But so as a man, like when I met Pam, it was a professional networking function. We exchanged business cards, etc. I was immediately attracted to you. I was like, oh, wow, she's a beautiful woman. And so right away, my mind went to, how do I go on a date with her? Mm-hmm. Like, how do I get to know her better? Mm-hmm. Now, you as a businesswoman told me that you were thinking completely different. Like,
I was thinking, oh, this is a corporate client. How do I get to do business with this particular organization?
Right. And for me, I'm not thinking business. I'm thinking, wow, she's gorgeous. How do I get to know her better? Because I was in the dating game. And I sent you an email, asked you out for coffee. And you know, on my side, it seemed like you didn't reply, but you did.
I left a message with your assistant. Yes.
Right. You left a message with my assistant, who she never gave that message to me. Nonetheless, for me, it felt like rejection. You guys, like I sent the email into the black abyss. Now, most men. Now, I'm not going to even say most men. A lot of men would stop there. I think a lot of men would say, "Oh, I guess that's it with her." They might make up a story about you and keep moving.
You know, I think that depends. Most of the men that I've met have always been determined.
Okay. Well, and I'm just talking for some of the men I know, they would probably stop. For me, I was still interested in you. And so I thought, okay. And the more I learned about you, and here's something else I think women should know, men ask around. Like, at least a good man is going to ask around. Like, if he doesn't really know you, he's going to ask about you. And so I began to ask people about you.
Okay.
Right? And everything I got back sounded good, outside of I really don't know her or things like that, right? So for me, it's like I'm still
Except
interested.
for one lady said something mean about
Well,
me.
yeah, but I kind of figured she was hating.
Like,
I just
what?
kind of figured she was hating. I kind of knew she might be hating. But so for me, it was like, how do I get to know her? You're an entrepreneur. You own a speakers bureau. You're the CEO of SMG Speakers Bureau. And as a corporate executive, I needed a speaker. It was a phenomenal opportunity to get to know you better. One, I could support a black business. Two, I could get to know you better. I mean, and three, we got the organization got a phenomenal speaker. All of that being said, I did get to know you better. And I kept pushing, even in those conversations, for coffee. Like, hey, let's connect. And every time, Pam would wiggle out, you guys. Like, she would wiggle out of it.
Well, you have to understand something. This is one of the rules of the game, I think. I don't know. It's a part of the game. I don't know how to process it as a rule, but as a woman that owned a business, yes,
Yeah.
I had to be careful because men would ask me out for
Yeah,
business.
for business.
And then when we get to the restaurant, it was totally different. Like,
Right.
hey, I think you're attractive. Would love to get to know you more. And so because of that, I was young. I started my business when I was young. I wanted to make sure I didn't run into that. So I had to really filter hard. For a man, to go out with me, it had to be really clear the agenda was about business.
Got you.
Otherwise, we could do our meetings over the phone.
And that's, I think, something important for women to know. That, I mean, men will, quote unquote, pose as, hey, this is a business deal. I want to get to know you as business. But on the flip side, really just want to, as soon as you get them to, to the drink or to the bar or to the table, like, man, so what's up with you? You single? I mean, I'm sure, men have done
Comes
that.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. But for me, I think you knew I was attracted to you very early on. I was pretty clear about that. Was I? I was pretty clear about that.
Yeah, I guess you were clear.
All right. And so by the time I asked you out, you knew it wasn't business. We were already doing business. It was, I want to go out with you. I want to get to know you better. And by the way, fellas, this is how I felt. And this is one of the reasons why, even though she kept denying and no, whatever, I'm too busy for that, or I can't meet you for coffee, whatever it might be. I felt like if she got to know me,
If I just get my foot in the door, if I
could just sit across from her for dinner for an hour or two. Now, if you said no then, I'd have been like, okay. At this point, we've had an opportunity to, really exchange ideas, values.
Can I jump in really quick?
Yeah.
One of the things that I would say that worked, your game that worked on me,
Mm-hmm.
was that you wanted to invest in a way that was to help me as a woman. And what I mean by that is you connected me with some even though I wouldn't go out with you, you stayed in touch, you stayed present. You reach out and say, hey, I don't know if you know these two sisters, but you should know them. You guys are both powerhouses. This person is I think you introduced me to the editor-in-chief of Ebony Magazine.
I did.
Misty Miller at the time.
Yep.
And you introduced me to someone else who was like an executive at a bank. He was like, you need to know these people.
Yeah, I came with more than I think you cute.
That's
fellas,
That's important, right?
Fellas, yeah.
That's
And
important.
by the way, I would have done that even if I weren't interested in you. But I think it's
Would you
important.
really?
I would have.
Would you really?
I would have. Yep. And I think if you
didn't
talk
know
to
anything about me to want to do that for me.
Well, I knew enough. I knew
Okay.
enough. I knew you were the president of a company. I knew you were a hard pusher, a driver. You were professional, and you were on top of your business. And I knew that from doing business with you. And I think any of the sisters who know me, who are just friends, would say, yeah, Linnell, he looks out.
So what was attractive to me is that I'm a connector by nature.
Mhm.
So the fact that you connected me, that's when you had my attention. I was like, oh, he's different. Like, he is really,
And I think this is important for men to know, because I think sometimes we come in one-dimensional.
yes.
Like, I just want to, fellas, you got to show, you got to put more cards on the table, so a woman really understands what she's saying yes to. I agree with you. I think that's something else that's a part of the game that most people miss.
Yeah, because they're so busy focused on trying to get to the win.
Yeah.
But it's the
Yeah, I agree.
strategy to the win. It's like checkers or chess that I
No
haven't learned how
doubt.
to play yet, but
Yep.
chess.
Yep. I'm with you. All right, cool. So we got 2 phone calls and we got questions.
Okay.
And I wanted to get to the questions to start us off. So I'll tell you what, we'll take the phone calls at the top of the hour.
We can take them now.
You want to take them now before
Yeah.
we go to the questions?
What do you think?
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, let's go
If
to
they're
line.
not good questions, we'll just hang
Let's
up
go to
on
line
them.
one. Freddie. Freddie, good morning. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. Yeah. Can you guys keep a secret?
Oh,
yeah.
Freddie, now you know we on the air now. This is you asking a lot of people to keep a secret.
Check this out. You guys are one of my favorite couples, so let's keep a secret in it.
All right.
But one of the rules you guys said, one of my rules when I meet a lady, I've been married several times, 2 times. Two things: no smoking, no drinking, no gambling. Those 2 things I can't deal with.
Well, good luck
And
finding
maybe
somebody
more-
that don't drink, Freddie, because every now and then.
I mean, alcoholic.
Okay,
Alcoholic.
well, be clear with that.
Okay, yeah. And number one, she must be confident in herself and love herself.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of men, women will follow a man if he has a vision and he knows himself, he knows where he's going. That's very important.
Freddie, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
63.
Personal.
Huh?
63.
63. Are you looking?
Yes, but I'm more focused on my business now.
Uh-oh. Sorry, ladies. I tried. I was trying to get you one.
And you know what? That'll come along.
They'll come along. Look, he already getting them. You can tell this is part of his game, y'all, just in case y'all don't know.
I'm focused on my business right now, young lady.
That's attractive to
Yeah.
a lady. She like, he focused on his business.
So I mean, yeah, that's very important. You know, a man must know where he's going before he can bring anybody to the game and
That's
work
real.
on himself.
That's real.
Work on himself.
That's true.
Thank you so much, Freddie. That was good.
That was real good.
Yeah, all right, man. That's all I got to say. So keep it up.
All right. Gino, let's go to the line 2. Gino, good morning.
Good morning, young people. How are you?
Good. How are you, Gino?
Well.
Doing quite well. I was anticipating this show when I found out what the topic was. And you asked a question about rules in dating, and I think I did a text, made a comment that the rules are different than it was when I was coming along.
Yeah, real
And I
good.
made reference to, I grew up in the hood, and if you ask a young lady out, you ask, you pay. Okay?
Yeah.
You ask.
But
you pay.
I think that rule should still be the same.
It hasn't really
Oh,
changed.
yeah.
It's just that women have to respect it. They have to make sure that they know who they're going out with.
Yeah.
Correct.
I blame it on women when they pull out their wallet to pay. Now, some women, they want to be independent, and that's great. That's who they
It's
are.
sending the wrong sign.
But to me, I think
It's
that...
sending the wrong sign. I'm just going to say it.
I would say this to that. I think one of the issues that comes up a lot of times, and this is usually with the younger set, and sometimes with the older set too. Some guys feel if I pay, I want dessert. And I'm not talking about these cakes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right?
And you know what?
Some guys feel like that.
And Gino, to that point, we live now in a time where, I mean,
You feel entitled
dessert.
because they bought you dinner. And
Well,
they feel
and
like,
dessert is real easy to get.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
it's easy to get nowadays, and I think that I think that's something else we should discuss. And as a matter of fact, it's in the questions that we have from social media.
yeah.
But just discussing how quickly we move to intimacy in dating, because I think one of the things that has really hurt a lot of sisters is moving too quickly in dating.
Right.
My personal
Now,
opinion.
when I was a young cat and I was out there dating, I made it up in my mind I was not even going to ask for a kiss.
You different. You different.
2 reasons. No, there's 2 reasons.
Yeah.
One, like you said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
men don't like rejection.
Yeah, true.
It's anathema to us. That's why, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is right, but this is what happens. You see a young lady walking down the street, a man listens to her, hey, beautiful, blah, 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 and she ignores him, then she gets cussed out right after the compliment.
Well, that tells you a lot about that man.
It says a lot about him.
Well, Gino, we're not talking about those men, though. We don't want those men.
No, I'm just saying how men don't like rejection. I was just trying to draw a picture as to how much of it's a pain to us about rejection. Now, one of the things that I think that a person should do, and I know we got a lot of we live in an electronic age, you should ask in person. You should ask in person if you can.
Yeah. Ask the lady out in person. Okay.
Yeah, ask
Okay.
the lady out in person. And don't do it on Monday if you want to take her out on Friday. Do it no more than 3 days. It's too much of an anxiety build
Gotcha.
up. You ask her out on Monday and the date's Saturday.
So do you agree with that, Pam? Like that a man should ask you out in person?
No, but that's his perspective.
That's his
That's how
perspective, yeah.
he feels. I can't.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be tough in the 21st century.
And yeah, because we're
Well, that's why the qualification. I know we live in an electronic age. I said
Yeah.
it's possible.
Yeah.
You should ask her out. I mean, that's just me. That's I like vanilla ice cream. Some people like chocolate. But honestly, I think the biggest thing that we should do is work on ourselves as individuals.
Got you.
In
Now,
terms of being ready for that part of our life.
now there's a comment on Facebook. Happy, she said to Gino's point, I will pay if I wasn't feeling the man on the date.
That's game.
I don't want
Happy
to
running
feel
game.
like I owe you anything.
Well, you know what, Happy? Did he ask you out? Because if he asked you out, then he needs to pay for the date. Regardless if the date doesn't
Right.
go well, that's not...
I agree.
We can't control if the date goes well or not. That's
I
not
agree.
up to us. The fact is you were interested, and so as a man, that's out of courtesy, out of just respect.
Right.
I-
In other words, if you said yes, and then found out afterwards you weren't interested, I mean, you did say yes, so let him go ahead and pay. At
Let him
least
pay.
honor the man. If he's a
Yeah.
stand-up
Let
guy,
him respect your
honor
time.
him and let him. Yeah, he respects your time.
Yeah.
He showed up on time. He tried to put his best foot forward, like most people do, and you weren't feeling it.
And I think it's a matter of like, as a woman, you put your time on the table. And so
Yeah.
if anything, he's just respecting your time when he pays. Like, and if he can't do that, and I know some guys don't know when to stop. I think that's what Happy probably is pointing to. Is some guys don't know when to stop, so if I let him pay,
Right.
then he gonna keep coming
Right.
and coming and coming. I just look
And I
at
think
Exactly.
that's where you have to be very direct about your communication.
Exactly.
And so what does that look like,
I would
ma'am?
say
I'm not interested in you. Or I'm not
Right.
dating right now.
So you would say that at the end of the day, or like when he's calling you afterwards?
When he's calling or if he's, after the date, so what you think for the next date? This was good, but I really
And you're
think
not dating right now?
Right.
Would you, well, I mean, I know women use that, but what if he sees you on another date?
that's fine. I wasn't dating then. I'm dating now.
I wouldn't.
I'm dating now. I wasn't dating that day. I'm dating today though. Today's my day commitment.
Right, I got it. And I guess dating is that way. So, hey, Gino, thanks for the phone call.
I would say last thing I would say is go alone, ladies. Don't bring your best friend.
What do you mean by you said go along?
Go alone. Don't bring your girlfriend to the date.
Oh, go alone. Don't bring your girlfriend.
Go alone.
I think, Gino, what you're trying to say is making sure that you guys can have alone time, which is fine. But also, if you're uncomfortable about a man going on a date by yourself, then drive your own car or meet him up there. Like, you don't have to necessarily
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
drive in the car with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's when I was
what we
dating,
did.
it was very rare that I allowed someone to pick me up.
Oh, I was rare, huh?
You were business. It was business. You happened to be passing my
Wow.
office.
I was rare.
You happened to be
That's what I
passing
just
my
heard.
office.
Gino, I just heard I was
That's what it's
rare.
like.
I'm
I
taking
heard
that.
rare, too.
Yeah.
You said he
So
was
I
rare,
think,
then
I think,
looked-
Gino, what you're trying to say is that if you don't, I think some women are, the biggest mistake that they make is that they're so scared of men. They're scared of men. They don't know who they are. They don't know their backgrounds, right?
Right.
They're just,
Mhm.
they're unaware. And because of that, they want
Right.
to be safe.
Yeah.
Right? And so
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
women,
there's
sometimes
nothing
we
wrong
have
with
safe
that.
codes. As women, we have safe codes. It's like, girl, if I text you the word
Absolutely.
1, 2, 3, call me and I'm out of here, you know?
Right.
Yep.
But
Yep.
find
That's
out
the
ways
world
to
we
keep
live
your
in.
keep yourself safe, yeah.
All right,
You guys-
Gino, man. Thanks for the call, brother. All right, good stuff. Okay, so,
First of all, Facebook is lighting up.
oh yeah, they are like
You know, Ernest didn't want to call in, but I see him on the
He
chat.
chatting now,
He's
he
chatting
chatting.
it up, you know.
All right, so we're going to hit some of that on the break. Let's go through some of these questions. So we got a little less than 10 minutes. I want to go through a lightning round and try to answer as many of these questions as possible because I know we want to end the show talking about the signs of games, like, game signs that he or she is not that into you. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about to end the show.
To end the show?
To end the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got to keep them waiting now.
Oh my God, that's the good stuff.
That's right. That's why it's at the end. All right, question number 1.
Uh-oh.
Prior to you setting the intention to find your wife within a year, I guess this is to me.
Mm-hmm.
So prior to me setting the intention to find my wife within a year, had you never dated with that intent, had you ever dated with that intent to marry before? No. I hadn't dated. Now, let me be clear. I was really clear I wanted to be married when I was dating in 2013. I was super clear. I met Pam for the first time in 2012. And even when I met her, marriage was not on my mind as heavily. Over the course of that, the months that ended 2012 and early 2013, a few things happened to me on dates that made me realize, and coaching, of course, but all those things combined made me realize that the dating game was not a safe place for me. Like, that jungle was beginning to crowd in on me.
It wasn't safe.
It wasn't safe.
Oh,
well,
gosh.
I mean, I was working for a publicly traded company. I was an executive, and my salary was public. There were things I began learning on dates where I was like, oh man, these women know more about me than I know about them. This game ain't fun no more. Like, all of a sudden, it just, I realized that I was also being hunted. Like, I was a hunter for a long time. Then I realized I was also being hunted. I didn't like that feeling.
Can I add to the rules for women?
Yeah.
Women need to learn how to be hunted. That's the biggest mistake that I see women making, is that they don't know how to sit back and be hunted.
So let's go to that. I mean, because
instead, what they do is they actually cook themselves. They get on the plate. They dress themselves. They put the sauce, pepper. They put the utensils down there. Like, now come eat me.
Come eat me. Yeah.
Where is the play in that?
Right.
Where is the hunt? Men are natural hunters.
Yeah, we want to be anything that's too easy. It's not like we won't eat it, but typically we will keep moving after that.
It's absolutely insane. Some of the things that I hear. Women in conversation.
Well, we started with respect.
Shops. Yeah.
One of the main rules to the game is to demand respect.
And let me say this too. And if you're a sister that believes in being a free spirit, more power to you. No judgment. But just be a free spirit in different circles. Don't be a free spirit with all the brothers on the football team. You getting all the football team, right?
It's not even a whole. It's not even like that. Here's the thing. I know a young lady I dated back in the day. She's phenomenal. She's I honestly think.
Don't say she's too phenomenal now.
No. I mean, when you already know who I'm talking about. You already know who I'm talking about. Now, she was great, beautiful, successful, could cook, could hold. I mean, all those things. But she was what you call like more of a free spirit. And so when I was dating her, I began to realize that other men I knew had dated her and had slept with her. Now, this is going to ruffle some feathers. But for me, I didn't want to be with somebody seriously that many guys had been with. And by the way, I wouldn't even call her loose. I mean, she was dating these men when it happened. But the numbers, the older we get, the higher our numbers go, right? And I think what you're talking about in terms of like being like learning how to be hunted is really important, because I think women will alleviate a lot of their problems if they learned how to be hunted. Because a lot of men, they want easy kill. And if you are easy kill and they keep moving, like you only have yourself to blame for that. But back to this young lady, she was great, but I just lost interest. And then, you
lost interest because she had been around the block.
She had been with too many guys for me. And then every time we be out and, a gentleman walk up like, hey, what's going on? And giving her a hug, I'd be
wondering, like, did you sleep with him too?
Like, man, right, exactly.
It's funny you say that, because I think women, for me, I thought the same thing. I didn't want to date a man whose name was in the streets either. I think it's important, because I don't want to be, in the beauty shop and my man walk in, they like, girl, so-and-so used to mess me up too. And it's like, I kind of want you to be exclusive to me.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a past. But at least I don't know they're not in my pathway.
They're not in your circle.
They're not in my circle.
That's
fair to say.
Yeah, they're not in your circle. And so I think for women, and unfortunately the social rules are a bit different. And men can sometimes get away with more than women. I think women have to really learn how to be hunted and make sure that man wants you. You know, I think that's really.
And you know, one of the things women have to realize is that you can kind of see if a man wants you in his eyes. You look at their eyes.
So give me more. Because men can show you that they want you with their eyes.
Exactly. You have to pay attention. Are they lustful eyes? Are they eyes of like, you know, adoration? Like, are they adoring you? Are they like
admiring you?
Admiring you. I'm so impressed.
Or are they lusting after
yes.
you? It's a difference.
It's a difference.
It is a difference.
Look in the eyes.
It's a difference.
When I was dating, when I was on a dating scene, I could look at a man's eyes and see his intentions. And if his intentions were, you know, lustful, then I already know that he is very interested in trying to sleep with me. Which, hey, is not a bad thing, but that's not what I want you to be your focus in the beginning.
Especially in the beginning.
I'm so much more.
Like right off the top.
I'm so much more than my panties. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, for real, dude? Like, stop it.
Man, no, that's fair. And I think that this is my warning to women who, if a man has lust for, like if that's how he's coming at you, that's what he wants.
And women like,
that,
he like
and he probably
like,
don't want much else.
Yeah.
He really don't want much else. And you gave the stats, 53% are interested in dating, right?
Yeah.
And then the other 47% don't want a relationship.
Yeah, they kind of in between.
Right. Now, if we were to use that with men, like there are a lot of men out here who say they're dating, but they ain't trying to be in a relationship. And typically those are the ones who lead with lust. That's just my take. Like they lead with lust. And so they'll be looking at you like, I thought you were a beautiful woman, but I was so much more, I was interested in the wholeness of who you were. Like your mind, your values, all of those things mattered to me. And so when I looked at you, I'm like, wow, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful. But I don't think you got that off of me, that it was lust.
You know, it's interesting. Our first meeting / date, that's when I realized how attractive I was to you. Because initially I was just like, business, you know, let me go close this deal, right? But after the date, I was like really shocked. Shocked at your experience, shocked of your brilliance, shocked at like just completely overwhelmed with like, oh my God, this man is different, and I love everything about him at this point, right? But the point I was trying to make is
Go ahead.
Okay. The point I was trying to make is that regardless of how much I liked you, although at the end of the day, I would have loved to kiss you, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't, and it's interesting because when I date guys, I always say I don't. And this is just me. Women, you can judge me. Everybody is on their journey. This is just for me. I would tell guys we would go on dates and they would try to lean in and come get one, and it's like, hey, if you kiss me, I'm yours, and we haven't had that conversation. So don't put your lips on my lips.
That's a good place to end the first segment. All right, so you've been listening to Inspirational Perspective. My name is Linnell Harris, your host and life coach. In the studio with me this morning is my lovely wife, Pam Harris. And we'll be coming right back with more on exploring the dating game right after these messages.
Business. He has been an advisor to the last 3 sitting presidents, both Republican and
let you do it
Democrat.
next time.
Bryant is
All right, y'all.
a best-selling
So,
author of the book,
let's see what
The
questions-
Memo,
Let's
5
see
Rules for
what
Your
questions people
Economic
have.
Liberation,
Yeah, let me turn this down.
and how the poor can save capitalism, rebuilding the path to the
Okay, there's a lot. There's a lot
And
of here
his
to
website
shift
says
through.
he is one of the only best-selling authors on economics and business.
What questions do you guys have that you want to ask us while we're on? I mean, we still have
I'm looking through it.
a ton of questions that we have to. Your mom asked a question about if you have to be harsh or something like that when you're telling someone you're not interested. I think that
I don't think
respect
so.
is important.
I think you got. Yeah, you can be respectful. You can be respectful when you're turning somebody down. Yeah, but I mean, I will say that if he doesn't get it, at some point you probably do have to be stern. I wouldn't say be harsh, but stern. Like, look, man, you barking up the wrong tree, you wasting your time. Ain't nothing popping. Like, and that's that. And I think that's something that a lot of women aren't willing to do. Like, it ain't. Like, just because they're like, well, what if? And it's like, if you got the feeling that this man doesn't mean, and this is why conditions of satisfaction.
That's what we can talk about coming back. Honestly.
I think this is why conditions of satisfaction are so important, because if you know he doesn't meet your non-negotiables, we'll talk about that coming back. But if you know he doesn't hit those things, like, you got to let them know, like, go kick rocks, bro. Go kick rocks. Like, I'm, you know, and I
Well, see, that's the
personally,
thing about
I
guys
appreciate
that
that.
hunt. Well, no, because sometimes guys that hunt believe they have a chance that you're not, you know, like maybe she really is interested and she's just playing hard to get.
Yeah, on somebody.
That is a part of the game, playing hard to get.
Yeah, that is part of the
So
game.
you gotta, I mean.
But that's what I mean. There's a difference between telling somebody to go kick rocks and being hard to get, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a difference.
That's true. You know,
Because, like, being hard to get is, you know, he texts you, you know, you text him back the next day, and he like, man, you took all day to text me, like, I was busy, you know, like, and, you know, you just kind of, like, you're going to have to chase a little harder, bro. You're going to have to send 2 texts. Like, that to me is part of, you know, a woman learning how to be hunted.
Yes.
Whereas, you're not interested, and you know he doesn't meet your conditions of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Hey, look, man, you wasting your time. I think a woman should tell a man, you wasting your time.
You said, what are some of the pitfalls a person should be on the lookout for on a first date?
Let's cover that when we come back, because I think this is pitfalls on the first date are different for everybody. And I think personally, you got to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and this is why conditions of satisfaction in dating is incredibly important.
There was a question that they asked directly, not on this feed, but they sent inside of Facebook when we asked them yesterday. One of the questions.
Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury.
Oh, here's one. Interesting that dating is being referred to as a game. Let me be clear about something. Life is a game. Like if we don't realize that just about everything we're doing is like can be gamified, and you need to think of it from a gamified perspective if you want to win. Like life is a game, and people are losing their life. Yeah, so dating, I see dating like you got to think about dating as a game.
And people get offended by that. You realize some people get offended like, why we gotta have a game? Why can't we just be in a relationship? Why can't we just...
Well, let's talk about that, because I think one of the things you and I did early on in dating is going to be important for listeners to hear. Because once we both kind of like we like each other, we made a decision to eliminate the games. Remember that? Like we made a decision together. Like, all right, let's be straight. Let's be straight with one another.
So stop.
You made the decision.
Yeah, because Pam still played a few games after that,
Tune in
y'all. She
Sundays
still
to
plays some
protect your
games.
money and build your wealth.
I had to shut it down.
Top Insurance Agency. I'm Betty Top.
And I'm Clyde L. Top. Our show will change your financial future and legacy.
We
Let's
talk
see.
about protecting
But
your assets,
to that,
401ks,
Cantice,
annuities,
so that
life
you
after
know,
retirement,
like
differences
you want
in
to.
benefits
My
of life
perspective is you want to look at
And
it
we'll
as a
take
game.
questions.
You really
Call
do.
us. Mention
Otherwise, you'll make it too
and get a
significant.
free financial consultation.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem.
Yeah.
You're so serious about it.
Yeah,
You know,
you'll make it
your
too
feelings on the
significant.
table, you're emotional,
Every
like,
day, you're like
yeah.
up and down. Oh my! It's like no, like
I think it's an opportunity to get to meet people and experience them,
Network.
enjoy the network of just like another
Yep.
human being.
I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think
Yeah,
this
people
place
get really
needs.
serious about this whole dating thing.
Excuse me, hi. What do you think this
Somebody
place
asked the
needs?
question, was a little getting to know if Pam have non-negotiables. She wants to know my non-negotiables.
And you,
your non-negotiables.
Yeah, we can talk about it when
Yeah,
we get back on.
well, I mean,
the
those are part of the questions I want to get to. So maybe we open up with some of those questions.
how about you?
Because we definitely got to get to those questions.
Okay, we can do those questions when we get
More
back
money
on
in the
the air.
pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream.
Oh, that's way better.
It's good stuff here. My first date, I let my wife know I was dating her to marry her. It didn't scare her off. I knew my intentions. Be intentional, brothers. That's Tony. Yeah, Tony. I didn't tell Pam that. She would have ran. She would have ran.
I love what Ernest said. It is a game, but if you play too long, you'll be playing by yourself. Gotta know when the stakes
There you go. That's good.
or
That's
the
good.
game changes. And that's what I was saying early on. Like, you know, as a basketball player, you know, y'all know when y'all bodies get
Yep.
tired.
Yep.
Plus, we'll hear from politics and pop culture expert Mike Hughes, as well as my good
I think
friend.
it's a different audience. I can share a little bit of my story
educator,
when we get back on the air.
More than that is brought to you by General Motors. Visit GM.com.
It's a lot of comments.
for their commitment to becoming the most inclusive company.
So, if you know a lot of people, it's a big church. Never slept with anyone, so you know everyone. And you're a hugging person. Is that problematic? No, I don't think so.
it depends on the person's personality. It can be, honestly.
I think it depends.
It depends on your personality. Because if you are, you got a little that in you, like seriously, then it can come across like this brother always hugging on somebody. Come on now.
This is from a woman though.
And this sister always hugging on somebody. Come on now. You just have to know your power,
There's
your
a
essence, the
there's a spirit.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a spirit. Yeah, there's always a spirit to everything.
Are we coming back on?
I think so. Yeah.
And good morning.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah. All right, here we go. Coming back.
Chicago.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibility. Find your power, passion, and your purpose. You know it's time for you to walk with greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Free your goals, live out your dream. Now, inspirational perspective. Open your mind to a better life. It's time to live. Let's find your purpose now. Inspirational perspective. Let's slay your goals, let your greatness flow. With inspirational perspective.
Well, we're back. You're listening to Inspirational Perspective. I'm your host, Linnell Harris. Right here on WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago. Today's topic, exploring the dating game. I have my lovely, beautiful wife in the studio with me this morning. So excited to have you. And she doesn't have a black bonnet on. She does have a black tie.
So crazy. Come about the black bonnet. The black bonnet is viral right now, okay?
Oh my goodness. Oh
The
my
black
goodness. But
bonnet, you
this
are
is
so
not my
crazy.
wife's first time being with me, and we're not talking about nothing that I did. So anyway.
Okay, so you
Let's
talking
bring
about
that to
this
space. No, I don't even want to talk about that. So
Okay.
let's keep going. Let's go to some questions. We got some phone calls. Matter of fact, let's take a couple of phone calls. Okay. And then we'll go right into the questions. But Kevin, good morning. How are you?
Wow, good morning, Linnell, and to Mrs. Harris as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm excellent. Let me begin by saying that men get rejected way more than women. Way more than women can appreciate.
Yeah, we do. I was telling my wife that.
So our skin has got to be pretty doggone thick to approach you. And one of the reasons why women don't approach is because women probably can't handle all of that rejection all day long.
But I doubt, but most men aren't rejecting women. I don't know about you, but even if
It's
in
rejection,
the past,
the fact that you're not calling the person back or they're not in a
I'm talking about the approach. You talking about the approach, Kevin?
Okay.
Yeah, the initial approach. If I approach 10 women, well, I'm above average looking guy, so probably if I approach 10 women, maybe I'll get lucky 3-4% of the time. I mean, no, three out of the 10.
Numbers. He knows his numbers.
He like, so 10 women.
I played the game long enough. I know.
3 or 4 gonna go. I ain't mad at you,
You
Kevin.
know what? That's part of the game, though. He knows his
numbers
numbers.
game, though.
Yeah,
I already
it is
know
a
what I'm
numbers
dealing with
game.
now. I understand feminine energy, and I know that. But here's other little caveat, too. You mentioned that a lot of women don't. Your wife mentioned it. She said a lot of women don't know how to be chased. And what happens if women play that game too hard, men quit.
That's true.
We're not going to do so. A lady got to be very, very sophisticated in the green light and
Her
the red
approach,
light
yeah.
and the yellow light
Yeah.
she sends. If she likes the guy, give him a green light, and he's going to keep coming. If you don't like him, give him a red light. Stop sign, get out of here. Yellow is approached slowly, but women have to know how to drop those kernels so a man can continue to, if they want that man to pursue. Other than that, right now, me too, we're not doing all that. We're going to back up.
Yeah, you're going to back up if you think it's, you just kind of playing me. A man don't want to get played. You know,
Absolutely
he
not.
doesn't mind hunting, but he doesn't want to get played. Yeah, I'm
Right.
with
So
that.
But he can be the player, but he can't get played in the game.
Nobody wants to get
another
played.
Nobody wants to get
Nobody wants to get played.
But let me say this one point real quick. Linnell, you always talking about self-mastery, right? And so if I spent all of this time engaging in self-mastery, I got my body tight, right? I work out, I eat right, I got my health together. I do strength conditioning 3-4 times a week, right? My purpose is right. I'm connected with the Creator, right? I spent all of this time getting my finances together. I have sound savings, sound investments. My insurance game is tight. I did all of that. My attitude is right. I'm in male energy, right? I know I have female energy, a portion of that, but I'm mostly in my masculine, right? So I'm doing all of these things, and now you're talking about now in having a woman come into my castle now. She better fit. I don't do chasing. I don't do that. You already know what I'm looking for, so I don't waste time. You can't come in.
I'm gonna disagree with you, Kevin.
Because I feel like if we're comparing this
chop it up. How?
If we're comparing this to a jungle and you're a lion, do you think the zebra is gonna just lay down and let you just eat them? I don't think so.
I disagree.
I don't think prey just lays down and says, you know what, I don't feel like running today.
A good woman wants to know that you value her. So even though you have all those things going for you, you know, like Pam, I'll tell you, like Pam, she laid the kernels down. I feel like you were on point with that, right? She put the breadcrumbs down, so I knew where to go and how to chase. But there were points in time where she had me sitting up, you know, looking out the window, like, okay. All right, you know, what's this next move? Like, I didn't expect that. And that was part of, like, that was important for me to really, because what that led to, let me tell you what it led to. It led to me asking her to be my girlfriend in 2 months and even asking her to be my wife in 8 months total. Because not only did I know that, you know, okay, she met my conditions of satisfaction, she met my non-negotiables, but she kept me interested. She kept me.
Okay, so yeah, women gonna do it. Women have to back off and deliberate for a second.
Yeah.
To see how they feel.
Yeah.
So I tell guys, just chill out for a second because you're up too close. Let her back off. She needs time to see how she feels about you and make that connection. Because that feminine energy is like that. It wants to connect, but it wants to connect correctly. So it wants time to deliberate.
And that might mean you get put on pause, Kevin.
Yep, you will.
And that's where you have to be like, yo, what's up? Like, I thought we were going out. Like, where you know, man, this whole weekend went by. I haven't heard from you. Like, that's your role.
It's your role to pursue her, yes. Because you have to keep in mind, Kevin, you're not the only person pursuing her. Maybe.
That's true.
It could be other guys.
If it's a good woman, you're not the only one pursuing her.
You're not the only one pursuing her. When I was dating, I wasn't just dating one guy. Right? It would be like I would say, hey, I'm out here dating, which means that I'm not exclusively dating you.
And by the way, that's what pushed me to be like, she got to be my woman. I don't want her going out with nobody else. I don't even want to think about it.
And I'm also vetting too. See, what on the other flip side.
But here's the thing.
Women are vetting. She's seeing other guys, and she's vetting other guys.
But Kevin,
I'm also
when you know what you want, and you land it, you're going to get singularly, like, you don't want that woman if you, like, for me, when I met Pam and we went on a date, she met my non-negotiables and she met most of my conditional standards in terms of my conditions of satisfaction for dating. I went all in. You know why I went all in?
Why?
Because I knew everybody else I was dating, I could resume dating with. But this one right here checked all the boxes. I got to go all in. And I think that's one of the things as men, we're not willing to kind of put ourselves on the line.
And women want that. Women want to know that you desire them and you want to chase after them with everything you got. I remember I was dating this one guy. He said,
a good woman.
A good woman.
A good woman. That's worthy of you.
Yeah.
That's what she's gonna want.
Yeah. I remember dating a guy. He told me, he said, you know, I really like you a lot. I got some questions. You're a little younger than what I would have expected, but I'm really attracted to you. I said, you know what? You don't know what you want, so this probably don't work for us. Yeah. Stop pursuing me.
Yeah.
I like a man that knows what he wants, and I told him that. So this probably won't work because you're too in the confused box.
Yeah.
So it's time for you to get out the lane.
That's exactly what I was just saying. And when you know what you want, you know what you're looking for, you don't waste time with it. Now, granted that if that woman fits me, she meets all of my parameters, then fine, I'm going to go all the way in because this shoe fits me well. But I don't waste my time trying to get into something that I know don't fit me because I've done enough time and self-mastery and self-searching. I know me, I know my energy, and I know what fits. I'm not going to go and get no pieces of cherry pie if that's not my favorite pie. I like sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
So guess what I'm shopping for? Sweet potato pie, because I already know what I like.
Right. And what I'm saying is, once you get the sweet potato pie, then you got to be like, this is what I'm going to eat. And unless for some reason I can't no more. Hey, Kevin, thanks for the phone call, brother. Good stuff. Art.
We gotta get to these other ones.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, young people. It is an honor and a pleasure to speak with both of you all.
Likewise.
I agree with the wife and yourself. Any man that's worth his salt, if you ask a woman out, at the end of the day, you're supposed to pay for the debt. The date. Period.
People were really triggered by this food conversation.
There's no in between to it. That is number one. Any man, I would tell a woman, if a man does not love you and adore you, and he has to take the problem with society is, and women fall in that category, they want to keep the virtue rules. Either you want a man to chase you and you want to accept the feminine part of the relationship and accept the masculine part, and there's some good or some things that both parties have to bend on. That's just part of being attracted to a female and a female being attracted to a male. You should not want the man you're chasing to act like a female, and you want your female to act like a male. That doesn't make any sense if that's what it is. And I think that's where the lines get blurred. But I would agree, some people, men and women, should not go into a relationship and you're not at least 75% of whatever you're trying to be. You can't go on in a relationship and dating you all broke up and say, I'm trying to fix myself. That doesn't make any sense. You're never going to have anything going on. And I had a last point, but I'll leave you with that. No,
that's good stuff.
Both of you all are 100% correct. Oh, yeah, here's my point. Women have standards for men and what we should do, and I have standards for women.
Absolutely.
A woman comes to a date and she's underdressed and overmade. For me, that's a problem.
Yeah, because that doesn't meet your conditions of satisfaction. And
right.
Yeah, no, and you know what you want. I think that's Art. Thanks for the phone call, brother. Appreciate you.
Yep.
That's
Thanks,
good.
Art.
All right, so here's one question, and then we got a surprise phone call here. I'm going to go to that.
I'm so excited about this.
We got a surprise phone call, y'all. All right, so here's a question. Pam, were you looking for a husband at the same time that Linnell was looking for a wife, or did you readjust?
So I'm going to answer that question really fast.
When you met me.
So, no, I was not. I've never been looking for a husband. I would have never thought I'd been married first out of all my sisters. Wait, second. I don't remember. But the point is, I remember I don't know if you guys know my story, but I remember driving in my car one day, and I said a prayer to God. I said, hey, God, I really don't need your help finding a man. I can do that on my own. Like, I meet guys all the time. I'm good. What I do need your help with, Lord, is finding true love. And I prayed that prayer to God, and ironically, it was the same day that I met Linnell, which is crazy, right? And I remember exactly where I was when I prayed that prayer. And so then I drove back.
It's the second time you met me. It was the second time you met me. Or it was the first day you met me?
That was the first day you met me? That was the first day I met you.
And you said no? Even after God put this gift in front of you?
You were with a woman.
That was.
Okay. And I wasn't thinking about you like that. But my point is that I told God I wanted true love. I didn't want marriage. I just wanted true love. I wanted companionship with someone that I can be with.
Yeah.
I didn't think about marriage. I wasn't there yet.
There you go.
Hope that answered your question. So yes, I adjusted when Linnell proposed to me in Paris.
Let me tell you all about the proposal. I think this is important. The night before I proposed to Pam, before I proposed to you, she had a long conversation about how, she wasn't ready for marriage.
Yes.
And that there are certain things that she wanted to handle before she got married. And that we both felt the relationship was going really well. We liked the track we were on.
she was like, but in terms of marriage and all that, you know, I'm cool on that right now. Like, don't feel like you're pressed to marry me anytime soon. I do feel like you know, you love me. I know that you're committed to me, and there's things I want to handle. And I sat there, and I think this is important for men to know. Like, you got to know what you want. And so I sat there, and I'm like, that's good. I understand why you feel that way.
And you proposed the next day?
And the next day I proposed. Next day I gave her a ring. And when I tell that story to a lot of men, they like, bro, I don't know if I would have did that. But it's like, I made a commitment to myself.
You knew me, though. You also
and I knew you.
You also knew me. You knew that I was scared of marriage. Because my girls was like, he going down to the post. I'm like, he better not propose to me. Like, what? I can't do marriage.
Yep.
And if you think about, this is a jump, and we got to let Ernest on. But I was scared of marriage because of how I've seen marriages.
Yeah. Well, both of us. And that's one of the reasons why we did so much internal work. We haven't talked about that yet.
But we want to be dating, we want to be in relationships. We don't realize the backup, the issues that we have, the wounds that we have from the past, and how they affect the energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So
all right.
Let's let Ernest on.
So anyway, Mr. Fenton has called us.
Hey.
Attorney Fenton.
Lord.
Ernest!
Yeah, I see you couldn't hold out, brother.
I couldn't. You all just made me get off my sofa. I couldn't take it anymore.
So what's going on, man? How you enjoying the conversation?
I mean, it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal conversation. It can go on for hours. It needs to be like a 10-hour series.
You know what? I think this is just part one.
Yeah.
This is just part one, because I mean, we haven't even got
through the questions.
We haven't even got through all the questions, bro. And it's so many different angles you can cover this from.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed, but let me try. Okay, I'm like half nervous.
Uh-oh.
You know, I don't even get nervous like that going on there.
What?
And you do this every morning. Stop.
Yeah.
Go.
Check this out, though. I had to make a distinction. Like, there's a reconciliation between what Kevin was saying, I think that's his name, and what Pam and you, Linnell, were saying about the pursuit of a woman.
All right.
This is where people make a huge mistake, and I have seen so many women lose phenomenal men who could have been their husband because they're playing the game too long.
I agree.
That's one.
I agree.
And two, they gotta understand the type of man they're playing the game with.
Yeah.
You can't play the same game with every man.
That's true.
To Kevin's point, I don't.
Ernest. That's so good. Oh my God.
Here's to Kevin's point, Linnell. I don't chase women. I never have. Most women they coming to me. However, but let's be clear.
And before Pam, that was the norm for me. I understand.
Correct. So you can't treat Linnell the same way you treat an average guy, because Linnell's accustomed to women coming to him. Even if he sparks their interest by just speaking or taking her out for coffee, once he does that, the roles have reversed. They're now coming after Linnell. So you deal it, but that's not the real issue, because a man who takes advantage of that position, then he ain't the man we're talking about. He's not included. But even a good man, like a Linnell, like an Ernest, like a Kevin, we still have a higher standard than the average guy. And the women out there dating, they're not looking for the average guy. So they don't know that they need to adjust their behaviors when they meet that man.
And you know what? And here's the thing. To that point, Ernest, when I was in the dating game, I did run into that, where you gonna keep playing games.
Yeah.
I don't. At this point in our process, I don't have to play games anymore.
This is what I'm saying. But let me get to the point Kevin was making.
Okay.
It's not. Now I just made a strong statement. I said I don't pursue. I don't chase women. Right.
Got you. Yeah, and that part I don't know if I'm all the way with you on. But
let me tell you what I mean, though. Okay. Here's the distinction. I'm going to what Kevin said. It's profound. Linnell, I just show you who I am.
And if you want me,
there you go. See, when I show you who I am, that looks like a chase for most guys, but it ain't for me.
Because that's what you do. That's what
I do. That's who I am.
Give an example, Ernest.
Oh, you want? Let's go out. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to take you to a nice restaurant. I'm going to open the door.
I'm not tripping on what you order. I'm going to encourage you to order whatever you desire. I'm going to talk. I'm going to listen to you. See, a lot of guys, they're using those things as a chase. But what you don't get is that that's just who I am.
Right.
So Kevin is not saying he doesn't chase women, and like what we're saying, he's not saying he doesn't do all those things. What he's saying is that he doesn't have to because that's just who he is.
Ah.
Got it. Okay. Now that provides some clarity. But, so let me ask you this then.
But can I say this though?
All right, go ahead.
But here's the big capper for the ladies. You gotta know when you dealing with a man who ain't playing the game. That's just who he is. That's your guy.
You know, that kind of piggybacks on what I said earlier. It piggybacks on what I mentioned earlier around knowing who you are as a woman and the cards that you have in your hand. Because if you're playing with someone that's a little bit more experienced, or you playing with somebody that's a player, or you playing with someone that is unsure of themselves, you have to know how to be with that man. Like, it's a different level of being and how you show up for that other person. It's a part of the game. Knowing the player, knowing the type of player that you're playing the game with.
Yes. And that's what Kevin was saying. So I'm saying he is chasing, but he's not.
But he's not. I get that. And you know what? And I did chase Pam, but I didn't at the same time.
Correct.
And what I mean by that is, so, and I'll even give an example. I remember when my show was on Saturday nights, Pam and I had just started dating, I would call her after the show, and we would talk on my way home. One Saturday, Ernest, I called, she didn't pick up.
I saw him call.
And I was like, Now, you know that got me to thinking. I'm like,
oh, for sure. She's out with someone.
Is she out with somebody? Like, so, you know, I'm thinking, hey, but guess what? That by that Wednesday, she was my girl.
Right.
But for me, though, he had too much access not to be my man. And I said, you know what? You got too much access to me. Let me let you sit out for the night.
And it was just one evening. Like the next morning, she called and was like, "Oh, I saw you call. You know, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm cool." But you know, I was a little unsettled, Ernest. Little unsettled by that. And by the way, I had no claim. And I understood I had no claim. And I really, like you said, the kind of men that we are, I didn't even bring it up. I'm like, but I bet you I'm about to get to the bottom of this. Simply by, hey, you going to be my girlfriend or you not? So that way I don't have to deal with that kind of foolishness anymore. And I get it, and I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a balancing act, and I'll leave with this one because I know you have a lot. This is the balancing act too. The beauty of the dating leading to something more, and this is how you know if you're like in the same space and ready to move forward. Because an immature man like of the caliber of you, Linnell, you would have just, I mean, of course you would have just called somebody else that night. That's number one.
Yep.
But two, you would have given her maybe one more chance. If she does that one more time, now you just change sort of the rules and the conditions of the game. So now you probably start looking at her just like as a feast.
That's right.
Right.
And that's the thing women have to know. They got to know when to play the game. They got to know how to play it.
Correct, but I'm getting over to the Pam. But see, Pam did the right thing. Because if Pam wouldn't have called that next morning, now the game just changed.
Yeah, she just kind of left it out there. Right.
Yeah. You're going to change your attitude about her. Now you're going to be like, oh, okay, she's playing games. Okay, I'm about to show her. You know what?
Yeah, you don't want to play games with me.
That's what I'm saying.
Because, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm with you on that.
All right, I appreciate it.
No, good stuff.
All right. And I need to check you all after the show. If you give me a call.
Oh yeah, we got you.
Okay. All right. Bye.
I like how you stuck the business in there. Good stuff. All right, cool. So, here's a question: was our age difference an issue, and what adjustments did we make?
Well, you know, Linnell likes to listen to old music. I like good music. You know, I think. You kind of have no good taste in music.
Oh, so whatever. Hey, now she listening to the stuff I listen to. Like, who is that again? That's good.
When you think about our age difference, I think that's the number one thing we notice is our different
taste in different things.
Different taste in different things.
Yeah, Pam is a millennial. I'm Gen X.
Right.
8-year difference.
We have an 8-year difference. We do.
Almost a decade.
I don't think we notice it. Well, I don't really notice it.
And we notice it with movies, like favorite movies. We notice it with favorite albums.
and things like that, she'd be like, well, who is that? And I'd be like, you don't know about this?
You don't know this? I'm like,
Right,
obviously
so-
I don't. I wasn't born yet.
But the
so-
cool thing is we get to learn from each other.
We do.
And so I think we make it, for us, this hasn't been.
For some odd reason, I enjoy, in my experience of dating, I've always dated guys that were a little older than I am. And for some odd reason, I just kind of like the...
You're a more mature spirit, though.
I tend to like what you guys bring. I think about Beyonce and dating Jay-Z. I don't know if Beyonce would be who she is without Jay-Z. I think Jay-Z kind of helped her become a powerful woman. Just like you've helped me become even, of a powerful woman. I think you have to compliment your spouse.
Yeah.
Not to say that someone your same age can't do it, but for me, I just noticed your experience of the world has helped me to get to where I can get faster because you're able to advise.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing that happened with Jay-Z and Beyonce. That's just my own personal take on it.
Got you. And for me, I didn't care how old the woman for me, it wasn't even in my conditions of satisfaction weren't really, age weren't really, it wasn't really a big factor.
Yeah.
And so when she
So I
was
think
8 years old.
someone asked me,
What about the list of non-negotiables?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you have your list of so here was the question, did your wife have a list of non-negotiables and conditional standards? And how many of them did I meet?
So I was trying to pull up, I have it in my notes on my phone, but I don't remember the name of the title. I couldn't find it. But what I will say is I know
list you had all them years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I had iPhone.
Yeah, you had a list.
It's still in my phone someplace. I don't remember the name of it.
Why did you have a list? Let's talk about that. Because, we talked about it already.
Well,
you gotta
let me just share with
Yeah.
you why I had a list. Because I went out to lunch one day with a lady. We were networking. And we happened to talk about her marriage. And she said, before I got married, I made this list. I said, a list? She said, I made a list. I made a list of everything that I want in a man. She said, you should do it. So I remember going home that night, and I just wrote a list. I wrote a list and forgot about the list completely. I ain't gonna lie. Not like I looked at the list every day. I didn't. So when I met Linnell, somebody mentioned something about a list. And I was like, oh my God, I wrote a list. Let me go back and look at this list. I look at this list, and I was like, oh my God. He met everything on my list, except for one or two things that I should have added on the list that wasn't on the list. But for anybody else, you want to be very detailed.
Also, it wasn't even on the list. It wasn't even I met the whole list. I got 100%.
You didn't get 100%. I think you got 90%,
Okay.
95% or something like that. But what are my non-negotiables? My non-negotiables are respect. I can't take a man talking to me a certain kind of way. It just won't. That's just not where I'm at. I got to have a man that respects me and I respect him. One of my non-negotiables are, he can't put his hands on me. He can't put his hands on me in an abusive way unless we're in the bedroom and it's something that I'm asking for. I'm just kidding.
Don't let them all in our business like
so
that.
Crazy. But the point is that we can't. There has to be a level of respect that you just can't put your hands on me. You got to respect me who I am, right?
Yeah.
Those are my the two off the top of my head that I can think of. I really believe that we also have to have a level of partnership. That was something that was on my list that is a non-negotiable. I refuse to be. I refuse to be in this marriage by myself as a wife and a mother. I appreciate
what do you mean by that?
I appreciate how you partner with me.
Okay.
We have partnerships. If I cook, you might straighten up the kitchen afterwards, right?
Yeah.
For laundry,
We
you
have
might
agreements.
sort the clothes and and put it in the laundry and then I'll fold it. We have a partnership where one person is not getting burned out.
Yeah.
We respect each other.
Yeah.
And I think those are the things that are important to me. I might not be able to think of everything right now, but those are my things that are important to me. Hopefully that help answer the question.
So we have another one, and I'm curious about, because this came from a woman. How and when do you communicate your non-negotiable list for a relationship to somebody you're dating? I have my own stance on this, but what do you say?
Well, I think that's contingent on who you are as a person, and the person you're dating. I find it odd that people ask these questions, no offense to the person that asked the question, because I think when you meet someone, you kind of know their spirit. You know who they are.
Yeah.
You know if they're going to be respectful from the beginning. So to me, that's a tough question. But for people that don't have a sense of discernment.
Here's my answer.
Okay.
Your non-negotiables are incredibly personal. And what you don't want especially if you are a young, beautiful, attractive woman that, people know.
To share them and they try
You
to
don't
use
want to
them.
share those non-negotiables with anybody.
Just look out for them.
Yeah, you're constantly, and let me give you an example. Like one of my non-negotiables was believes in God and has a relationship with God. I didn't go around telling people that though.
Right.
Like I just looked for it. And if they didn't have, like, I was on a date, I was like, I don't believe in God. I'm like, oh man, I just lost the evening. I mean, because right away, I don't care.
You didn't tell her though. You like, you know what? That's a non-negotiable.
I didn't tell her. She was just like, no, I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And I kept it to myself. And that was the last date we went on.
Yeah.
Like, because for me, that was a non-negotiable. I wanted a woman. And so I think for anyone who has non-negotiables, you got to keep those close to you. Because you don't want somebody coming in and playing like
You're negotiable, yeah.
they,
like
because again, remember, this is a jungle and you got wolves out there, you got, and they will play a good part just so they can sleep with you, just so they can get close to you, and then they'll be gone.
And Patricia,
So
I see you here. You said some people aren't discerning or out of touch with themselves. I agree with you, and I think this is why Linnell, this is why we're a great balance, because the areas that I'm blind in, Linnell can explain them better to you. What she just did, which is don't share them because you don't want people playing on them.
Right.
I hope that helps. So, I know that I'm a bit different in my approach and how I answer questions, but I want to make sure you know that.
That's one of the things I love about our relationship, because we both have strong opinions, but we can be with each other in our opinions. I think it makes us better.
Yeah. It was a point that you made that I wanted to talk about. You said something around, there was a gentleman that I grew up with. He said he didn't want to date women that drank, like that were drinkers, which is fine. But if you're telling someone coming in the door that's to a woman that wants to be married and she loves everything about you, but she drinks alcohol, she's gonna stop drinking for a little while. She's gonna stop drinking for a little while. And then you're going to piss her off one day and she's going to go get that glass of bottle of wine and be like...
Right, you're going to be like, why you drinking? I hate drinking.
Exactly.
And now you're married.
Exactly.
Yeah, some things you just keep to yourself and observe.
Just watch people.
Watch people.
It's the biggest, matter of fact, that's probably one of the rules we should add. Pay attention to who you're... Pay attention. Get out your head and pay attention.
Everything.
Get curious on the other side. Know what's on the other side of that table and get curious.
Yep, I love it. I think that's great. Now, here's another question. Is there a too fast with dating? Too fast.
Too fast for dating. Now, I think that question, and I want to answer this the way I know how. It's all in your approach. It's in your mind. Yes? Mm-hmm. Like, to me, it's how you perceive it.
I agree.
And it's also
I think there is a
connection.
too fast.
It's a connection.
But there is a too fast. And here's what I think is the too fast.
Linnell, one would say that we were dating too fast. Because after we went out, we started going out every night.
Yeah, but we there was no intimacy like that.
So that means this has to be
well, like when I
defined.
see too fast with dating, I'm thinking intimacy, I'm thinking kissing, I'm thinking sex. I'm not thinking going out with the person every evening.
Oh, okay.
Or I'm not. To me, you just get to know them better and better and better.
Well, you see where my head is, and you see where your head is.
Right away, when I read
obviously,
that question, is there a too fast with dating? I don't think you can go out with a person too fast. I don't think you can go out with a person too many times.
Yeah. Max says it's subjective, and I think he has a great.
I think it is subjective, but I do have an opinion for ladies in the 21st century. Go back to the young lady I talked about who, once you got into a dating situation with her, she would sleep with you. That can pile up real fast. Mm-hmm. That can pile up real fast. And then here's the other thing. And I think that most of us know that. Sex is powerful. Sex is very, very powerful. And so if I'm in the dating process with someone, right? Because, think about it. You and I, when we were dating, you weren't going.
Oh, no, I wasn't going.
Yeah, you weren't going, right? I didn't even try. I think we might have had, some, close encounters, but it was just kind of like, you were like,
I gave you a little drop. Look.
Yeah, you ain't my man.
Little breadcrumb, keep you coming back.
Right. So from that perspective, it was, I do think you can move too fast when it comes to intimacy. And here's the reason why. If you don't even know if this person checks all your all your conditions of satisfaction, right? So, okay, maybe they hit the non-negotiables, but you don't even know if they hit your conditions of satisfaction. Why are you sleeping with them? Because sex is powerful, and it has a binding quality for both men and women. I think men sometimes.
I don't know that that's always true.
I mean, maybe not.
I don't know
maybe.
that always has a bonding. Like some women can, they can let you hit it and then they good the next day. They don't call you back. You know what I mean? So
good
this
for
is
her.
a subjective conversation.
It's subjective. Like I said, I'm just saying most of the women I know and most of the women that I coach, they ain't the type where they can just get up the next morning and keep it moving. You got some alpha females. They like, that was good. Thanks, sir. I'll call you when I need more. And that's true. That's true. But you know what? A lot of those people aren't even in a dating, like they're not dating seriously. Like for relationship, for marriage. They're just like, I needed my needs met. I'm growing my business. Yeah. Let's keep it moving. We're talking about people who are like, they want to be in an intimate, loving, long-lasting, healthy relationship. If that's what you're looking for, in my opinion, you got to pump the brakes. You got to pump the brakes and get to know that person. At a minimum, make sure they check off more than 80% of your conditional standards and they meet every last one of your non-negotiables. At a minimum. In my opinion, there should be at least some verbal commitment in place. That's my opinion.
We have another question here.
Okay.
It says, if you're currently unfulfilled in a relationship, how do you know it's time to leave? We talking about singles, so.
Let's skip that one.
Okay.
Because you're in a relationship trying to figure out how to go. You probably need to talk. You need to talk to a relationship counselor.
What do you do if you want a relationship, but you're scared of being hurt in a relationship?
That's a good one.
So I'll ask it again. What do you do if you want a relationship, but you're scared of being hurt in a relationship? Well, fear freezes. So
yeah, fear freezes you.
If you're scared, then you're not going to make any moves, and you're going to be single. So the question is, how bad do you want it?
Well, you could be scared. I think you have to be willing to act with fear.
To do it afraid.
To do it afraid. If you really truly want a relationship and you're afraid, because we call it the dating game is a jungle, so you're afraid to be in the jungle.
Yeah.
But you want to be in a relationship, you're going to have to pass through the jungle for the most part. Unless you a super prayer warrior and you like, Lord,
a super prayer warrior.
Lord, please have him ring my doorbell. I don't want to go through this, Lord.
Now, I need to know, if somebody came to your doorbell and rang, you call in. I need to hear that story, okay? I want to hear your story. If a man rang your doorbell.
Give my man my address, Lord. Right? He show up like, God told me to come. And I'm not saying it's possible.
It's definitely possible.
But,
I'm not putting.
But here's the thing. Here's what I do believe with faith. You got to take action.
Yeah. Let me say this too. I think women have to be clear about what are you afraid of? What's the fear? Are you a fear of being hurt that he's going to cheat on you? Are you afraid he's going to be like abusive? Are you afraid that he's going to leave you? I think you got to get clear on what issues you have around fear.
Are you afraid you're going to be taken advantage of?
Yeah,
Are you afraid?
Honestly, if that's what you're worried about, then you need to go work on those areas to
distinguish the fear.
Support it. That way you can be in a relationship. Otherwise, you're sitting back scared.
So do the work.
Do the work.
Yeah, go do the work.
Do the work. Figure out why you're scared to be in a relationship.
Yeah. And exactly what you're afraid of. Mm-hmm. I think distinguishing the fear is going to be really important. Yeah. And then get supported. Get supported as you go on the journey. That's a good answer.
Thanks, Lynette. I'm married to a coach, so I guess he rubs off on me sometimes.
Let's jump to the signs, like the game signs, that he or she is not that into you. We got 15 minutes left. I think that's a great way to end. Like, how do you know if you're dating that he or she is just not that into you? Like, they just not that into you. And you probably should just go ahead and call it one and redirect your attention. Like, how do you know?
I'll kick off one. Actions. Actions.
What do you mean by that?
Actions. Is this person pursuing you? Is this person calling you? Is he texting you? Is he thinking about you?
Okay.
And if he's thinking about you, how is he showing you that he's thinking about you? I remember like when I was dating, a guy would send me a YouTube clip. Good morning, love.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like he's like,
that's
you owe my
dope. That's
man
pretty
early
good. That's
in the
good
morning.
game.
You know
That's
what I'm
good
saying?
game. I like that. I like fellas take notes. You know,
I mean,
John Legend works.
And then I remember when I lived with myself, I would, look outside my window. It was snowing. It was snow outside. My car be completely cleaned off. I'm like, because he's thinking about me. He's pursuing me, right?
Yeah.
So you have to consider the actions, right?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, game signs that he or she is not that into you. One is that the actions aren't there. Here's a big one that I know happens a lot. The relationship is being kept a secret. So you all are dating.
Oh my gosh.
You all are dating.
Okay, this is a whole show. Can we just do a whole show on being a secret?
We can. I don't think it even requires a whole show.
Oh my gosh.
Don't be a secret.
No, it's not that
Don't
easy.
be a secret. I think even if dating.
It's not that easy.
What's not that easy?
For women, I think women are, some women, let me not say all women, they don't have the courage sometimes to see they're settling and to walk away from someone that is settling.
Here's how you know you're being held a secret. I don't know. I get that.
Of course you know you're not on their social media pages. I mean, I don't know that really matters because when you're dating, you don't always want people.
Yeah, you don't want them on your social media. But here's how you know is they ain't taking you out on the town. Everything is Netflix and chill, always in the house.
They might not have no money.
There's so many things you can do without money. You can walk on a lakefront for free. Like for me, it's like. Are you a secret? And you know you a secret if the person won't take you out, man. Like you all went on the first date, and after that, now it's got to be behind closed doors. That's not cool. Like they not that into you. I'm sorry, because even if they don't have the funds.
Oh, we got a caller.
See that? Even if they don't have the funds,
There's
so many things you can do.
No, you're right. I think that's a good point. So how do you know if you're a secret for people that just really, so you're saying just pay attention to the actions, pay attention to how he's,
Are you all out and about? Because it's a great way to know you might be getting dated by a married person. They might be married. That's why they like, well, let's just go here. They always want to keep you behind some kind of closed door. Just come to my office. Like, no.
Okay. What else?
What's another one? Game signs that he or she is not that.
You don't have full access.
That's a good one. You don't have. So what does full access look like?
Full access. Full access is kind of what you didn't have when we were dating. You called me that night.
And by the way, this is this is further along in the dating. Like now you all are like. You should be in like a relationship conversation.
This is not initial dating.
This is not initial dating. Like full access. Nobody should have full access to you when you're dating. Yeah. But here's some things like your text messages aren't returned. Your
they don't call you back.
They don't call you back
until like maybe 6 hours later, and it's kind of like.
No, I think if you dating, I give it 24 hours.
I don't give it 24 hours.
Like to me,
absolutely not.
I think because I'm a guy, maybe.
In my experience, this is my experience, okay? I'm so sorry. This is my experience. Typically, if I call you, you need to call me back. There's a certain, unless you're at a conference or you're really busy.
Pam,
and
let me tell you, even Mary, Pam is like, so I have clients, that's the only time. But other than that, you'll call me twice and like, why you didn't pick up? So with a client, honey.
Why? Don't say it that way in front of the people on the radio, sweetie. That doesn't sound like, that doesn't look good for me right now, okay? Let's change the way you say that.
But I get it.
Okay?
I'm just letting them know that you're hypersensitive to that. And I don't think in dating that you got to return every phone call within 6 hours. To me, within 24 hours. It's funny you say that
because when I didn't return your call, you felt a certain kind of way.
I did.
Exactly.
But you called me the next morning.
It's subjective again. Thanks for that.
Subjective.
Everything is subjective.
Man, look, if a person ain't calling you back all week, and then when they do call, they like, "What's up? Let's get together." No, thank you. You don't have full access. Oh, you've never been in their home. You guys have been dating for a couple of months.
Oh my God.
And you ain't seen where they live. I think that's a telltale sign something might be up, or they're embarrassed. But either way, you want to know.
You know what? I know a young lady that was in a relationship with this guy, and they were supposedly dating. And they were dating for they were together 6 months, and she had never been to his house. I said, what?
Nah, you getting played.
You're sleeping with this man, and
She was sleeping with him?
You're sleeping with this man in your house, and you don't even know what his
And
bed, and you don't even know what his bedroom looks like.
Oh my God. No,
Women.
No. You
Please.
can't. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
I can't.
Yeah,
I
that's.
You
What
gotta-
about the phone?
The phone. We got Love McPherson now, and I see the relationship coaches in the
Oh, wonder what she got to say. Tell her to give us a quick phone call if she wants to. If she wants to. What about the phone? Like in dating,
They say that's one of the biggest things that cause breakups in relationships.
it's the phone.
And yeah, because you with someone on a date and they're on their phone, they're on Facebook, they're doing whatever, they're on Instagram, they're on their emails.
It's a sign of things to come.
It shows that they're distracted. They don't fully have your attention.
Yeah.
Until it's time to until they want something. Then they're like, now you paying attention to me. But
What about early relationship in the phone? Like, if you my boyfriend or girlfriend, should I have access to your phone? Like, we committed.
if we're in a relationship,
Yeah, committed relationship.
I don't see a problem with that. That's just me. That's if you're in a
I
fully
agree.
committed relationship.
You and I had access. By the time we were in a relationship, we would use each other's phones.
Right.
I'd be like, let me Google this and pick up your phone. You'd be like, let me see those pictures from last night, pick up my phone.
Now, I do remember we were dating. I remember that one time I put that card in your mailbox.
Oh, boy. Yeah, well, that was early.
I'm not going to even share that story. We don't have time. We don't have time to share that story. We're going to keep going.
That was early.
That's another...
It wasn't a sign.
It was. Let me tell you what it was a sign for. So really quick, guys. I got Linnell this card. We were dating early on, and I got him this really cute card.
This
right?
is like the first month and a half of dating.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I put it in his mailbox. I was at his house, and in the front of the card it said, "Guess who, boo." Guess who, boo, is what it said on the card.
It did.
So Linnell's in his living room. He's grabbing the mail or whatever. He goes. He grabs the mail. And he's holding the mail in his hand, and I can see him. I'm acting as if I'm not paying attention. That's another thing, ladies. You got to play dumb sometimes. Sometimes you got to know when to play dumb. And so I act like I'm not paying attention, and I see him look at the card, and he immediately looks over to the side of me, but I act like I don't see him. He's like, oh my God, like, who's giving me this letter?
I thought that one of my exes or somebody I had been dating before Pam had left it in my mailbox.
So then he walks away and was like, let me go put this mail down in the kitchen. I'm like, yeah, you want to go see who wrote you that card, who gave you that card, right?
I
did. So he gets in the kitchen and he starts laughing. So for me, though, it just showed how he handles under pressure. See, sometimes you got to put your man in a pressure position to see how he reacts. If he's smooth, then you got to keep an eye on him. So now I know Linnell, I got to keep an eye on him. He's too smooth. He handled that way too
You don't got nothing
cool.
to worry about.
He handled that
You don't
way
got nothing to
too
worry
cool.
about. Yeah, but back then I get why. Yeah, she was probably like, "How does?" But
Kenny gonna say your cousin gonna say, Pam, that's not fair. Of course it's not fair because that's your cousin.
But
Kenny.
to her point, she wanted to Pam was like, "How smooth is he?" And
How
she
smooth
saw
is
how
he?
smooth I was. I was smooth.
Well, honestly though, I think it's
Yeah.
important for
I
ladies
was
to know
smooth.
how smooth their man is.
I was smooth.
You
Yeah.
gotta know
I
what
knew how
level
to
of
move.
game your man have. Like seriously,
Yeah.
you gotta know what you're dealing with.
And I had game. And that's why I'm trying to help the ladies with some of the advice
Yeah.
I'm giving.
Yeah.
Because I had game, I know how it goes. All right.
Love said, what's the calling number? What is it?
773-591-1690. She got 4 minutes. Come on, love.
773-591.
1690. All right. So before she comes on, here are a few more things in terms of game signs that he or she is not that into you. He takes you on Dutch dates.
No, we're not doing no Dutch.
Yeah, he ain't that
Unless
into
we
you.
playing double Dutch, we're not doing Dutch.
He not that into you. And if he
Absolutely
says money, then he need to save longer for every date.
Yeah.
But he not that into you. What's another one? Oh, you are the giver and the other party is only the receiver. Like you're always giving.
Oh my God.
You're always giving.
I
He
find
not
that a
that
lot
into
of women
He or
do
she
that.
is not
I
that
find a
into
lot
you.
of women do that. They're
A lot of
very-
men do it.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, some guys get taken to the bank. They like, oh, I need another $400. But you ain't even been out with her in a month. Like she ain't let you take her out. She need another $400.
Somebody said, what does going Dutch mean? That means you pay for
Y'all
half
split.
and he pays for half.
Yeah,
I mean,
y'all splitting the
after the meal,
deal.
he's like, you got your half. You got
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's another one?
Let's see.
I gotta.
Here's another one. The person you're dating is always about to.
This is, again, we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the
just
signs. The sign that he or she is that, they're not into you. Like,
yeah.
What did you say?
I was just about to call you when you called me.
Oh my God.
I was just about to text you.
Okay, you got to be careful with that because sometimes.
No, but you ain't heard from them though.
Okay.
You ain't heard from them.
Okay.
Or, I was just about to invite you. Like all of those, I think are signs. Anything else? Let's get through the rest of this list. We got 3 minutes. He or she is only available for sexual interactions.
Right. All of a sudden, you busy, and it's like. Okay.
Oh, love is on the line. Let's go to Love real quick. See what Love got to say. Love, good morning.
Good morning.
We got like 2 minutes.
I missed this good old call. Now, what you just described, if he's only available for sexual, that is a situationship. You are not in a relationship. Okay, I'm gonna put that.
That is situationship. There you go. There you go. We didn't use that one yet, Love.
That's a whole nother series by itself. Situationships, because a lot of women settle for situationships when they're.
Matter of fact, Love, we may have you back because this is definitely part 1 of the dating game.
This is good. This is good.
But we wanted to just have a real conversation with folks. Like, I think there's a lot about the dating game that's getting left on the table these days.
Really quick, Love, I know we only got like 2 minutes, but what are some of the things that you've seen, how people are getting played, some of the signs that you tell your clients when they're getting played?
You're getting played.
Okay, this is what I am finding. I am finding that even though I do like the online dating, what I find is it is a buffet restaurant, and people refuse to stop and say, I'm full. They want to keep on testing a lot of different plates, and then they think, maybe I missed something up there on the buffet table. And so they keep going back. And that is why we have lack of commitment. In my day, you didn't have the internet, and you didn't have the worldwide to date. You only had your church, your school, your neighborhood, and so you selected out the best you could.
Yeah.
But now it's too much. It's like a, what do you call it, cheesecake factory menu.
Yeah, too much going on. Love, thank you for joining and giving us a little bit of advice. But you know what, we're gonna do this again, part 2.
Yes,
and we'll have to have
Pam on with us too. Let's bring Pam in.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have Pam and maybe Ernest to join us live, and maybe you can join us, and we'll just have another conversation, the dating game part 2. Because I mean, there's only so much you can hit in 2 hours, and they already said it. This could be a 10-part show. But thank you for giving us a call.
Yep.
Thank you for having me, you all.
Absolutely.
I love y'all.
Love
you too.
I see my sister-in-law's on too. I see that. That makes me happy to see her on. And hey, Erica. Hey,
all right.
Carolyn. Sorry,
well,
I didn't do my shout-outs.
that's the show right there, folks. Wife, anything you want to say before we go?
I think there's more. Just keep in mind, know yourself, love yourself. Do some self-love, honor, nurture, and I think you'll be good. Just take care of yourself.
Cool. All right. Well, you've been listening to Inspirational Perspective. I'm your host, Linnell Harris, and life coach, right here on WVON 1690 AM, the Talk of Chicago. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Please share it if you can. And until next week, God bless you. Have a phenomenal week and a better Sunday. All right. That's the show, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Share the stream, so people can learn what they need to learn. That's part 1.
Ex-cop was caught on video wrestling Garner to the ground.
I know, right?
Around his neck.
All right, you guys, have a good one.
Repeatedly said, "I can't."